Today's the day. It's finally here. The Rocket League Mechanics tier list. A lot of you asked for it, so here you go. Without further ado, let's just jump right in. Okay, so let's begin. The first mechanic we have on here is the new mechanic, the Feraldex jump. But I think F tier, honestly. This mechanic is fucking useless, okay? I hate how the RL community is so hyped for the Feraldex jump, new mechanic, shut the fuck up. It's got no use in a competitive situation, it's fucking useless. When you jump off the wall with the Feraldex jump, you literally have zero speed. You have to use all your boost just to get to the ball again. That has no advantage in a competitive situation. So it's very fucking useless and it's not gonna stick, take my word for it. The next mechanic I have on this list is the 180-degree flick. This one's hard, but not really. I'm saying C tier. This mechanic looks cool, and it is good for like if you're starting to do complicated flicks. But in a competitive situation, the 45-degree flick is much better. It's so much better. The time it takes for you to spin around, and you don't even get that much more power than a 45-degree flick. If your purpose of doing the 180-degree flick is just to delay the flick, you can just delay a 45-degree flick and get more power with it. The next mechanic on the tier list is the 45-degree flick. I'm putting this in A tier. I'm thinking between A and S, but I'm not sure. I think A tier, yeah. This is probably the best flick in the game. One of the best flicks in the game in a competitive situation. It's so good, everyone uses it. You can get so much power, you can delay it, you can fake it and still have control over the ball. The next one we have is the air dribble bump. I'm gonna put this in the A tier too. I think it's a very good mechanic. It's mainly a 1v1 mechanic, since if you bump the first man in a 2v2 match, the guy behind him will have it, so it's not that useful in 2v2. In 1v1 situations, it's so fucking good. Next up, we have the bounce dribble shot. If you've ever watched KSA players like Ahmed and Khalid, you know how good this shot can be. But again, you need a lot of space to perform it. You need a lot of space. And it's very hard to do. In 1v1s, I'd put this in S tier, but because you need a lot of space, I'll put it in B tier. Next up, we have the breezy flick. This is my favorite flick, honestly, but I'm gonna put it in the, I think, A tier, because it's just a musty flick, a kind of augmented musty flick, and because the musty flick is the original one, I mean, you have to put the musty flick in S tier. It's so good in 1v1 situations and just freestyling. If you've ever seen freestyle tournaments, you will know how much freestylers use the musty flick. It's so good. Next up, we have the ceiling shot. I'll put this one in S tier if I'm honest, but just because of history. No one thought that the ceiling shot was gonna be used in competitive situations, and then Squishy pulled it off in RLCS. Next up, we have the classy flick. I honestly considered not even putting this mechanic on the list, but it's still a mechanic. It's basically just a breezy flick, but you flick in the opposite direction, if that makes sense. I'll put this in the D tier if I'm honest. It's not that useful. The breezy flick is just better. Next, we have the double flip reset. Now, as much as I love to put mechanic in S tier, it's just not that good. It looks sick and it's very useful, but it's hard to pull off, and a single flip reset is probably better in most situations, so that's why I put it in the A tier. Next up, the double touch. This can be a triple touch or whatever, just you set up yourself off the backboard and then you touch it in the net with however many touches. I put this one in the B tier. It feels so satisfying to pull off. However, if we were talking about double touch with a flip reset, like you go for a touch on the backboard, then you get a flip and then you flip it into the net, then it would be an A or S tier, but I'd say B tier, just a regular double touch. Next, we have dribbling. Dribbling is basically the foundation of all of these flicks, every single one of them. But dribbling on its own, just dribbling the ball, it does nothing. You can probably cut in and out and score a goal with it, but I'm talking about just dribbling. It's a D tier or C tier, I think. C tier, just because it's the foundation of all these flicks. Next up, we have the flip cancel. When I'm talking about the flip cancel, the speed flip is technically a flip cancel, but I'm talking about the flip cancel that like freestylers use, where you front flip and then you hold the stick backwards and you do like a fucking stop in midair with your car. I'm not gonna lie, when I started playing this game, I loved flip canceling, it was one of my favorite things. It was so satisfying. I don't use flip canceling that much anymore, like regular flip canceling, but it's still a decent mechanic. I'll put it in the B tier, just because of how freestylers use it. Looks so sick. Next we have those flip reset, no question, S tier. The flip reset is probably one of the most versatile mechanics in this game, and it's still not perfected. There's still so much room for improvement. Next up we have the front flip flick. I'm gonna put this in C tier 2, in the C tier 2, just because all of these flicks are better than the front flip flick. In some situations it's okay, but any of these flicks just work better than the front flip flick. Next we have the half flip. I'm gonna put this in S tier, just because of how useful it is. Everyone needs to know this one, it's so useful. Next up we have the hook shot. This mechanic is so useful for low ranked players. You score so many goals because they never expect it. But speaking for high ranks, I'd put this in the D tier if I'm honest, or C tier. I think, yeah, D tier. Just because it's very readable, but many players fake the hook shot, so that's also useful. But just a hook shot, not that useful in a 2v2. In a 1v1 it'd be like B tier, but in 2v2, yeah. Any pinch, I'd put this in B tier, only because no one is 100% consistent with pinches. They're very difficult to hit, but you can hit them if you practice, but they're still very difficult. There are so many variations: ceiling pinch, ground pinch, wall pinch. That's why I put any pinch, but still, if we were able to hit 100% of the time all the pinches, this will be a nice easy S tier, but because of that, B tier. Next we have the side flip flick. To be honest, this is a slightly worse version than a 45-degree flick, only because you can't get that much power in it. The side flip flick is really useful for popping the ball up quickly. It's just so much better than a front flip flick, and it does the same job. So yeah, side flip flick, B tier. Next, the speed flip, no doubt, S tier. If you haven't learned the speed flip, please go and learn it. You will speed up like fucking 10 times the speed you are right now. It's so useful, and the thing about learning the speed flip is, once you know how to speed flip, your flips will get even better. Like when you learn to speed flip, you not only learn how to speed flip, you learn how to flip more accurately. So all in all, S tier, definite S tier. Next we have the air dribble. Now, I'm gonna rate this as just a vanilla air dribble. You go off the ball and you just air dribble it straight into the net. No tricks like faking, no nothing, just air dribbling straight in net. I'd say B tier, the bottom of B tier, just because it's so readable and it's easy to save. But if you can like fake it or do some other shit, it'll be higher, but most people can't do that, and it's very useless. The flip reset is just better, to be honest. It's harder to pull off, but it's better. Next, the wall dash. I'd say this is A tier. This isn't a new mechanic per se. It has existed for a long time, but no one used it because it was hard to pull off. And then pros figured out a way to use it more consistently. And now every pro in the RLCS, every single one. And then we have the wave dash, the last mechanic of the tier list. I'm thinking S tier, to be honest. This is kind of the foundation of the wall dash too. That's why the wall dash is lower than the wave dash. I didn't even mention, I forgot while making this tier list, there's a mechanic like Evampel does it where you wave dash and you flick, and you can do a lot of variations of it. Or even Breezy, I think, does it. The quintuple wave dash flick or something. But anyways, there's a lot of mechanics that came from the wave dash, and it's very useful, and I fucking love it. That's my tier list, so this link will be in the description. I think you can do your own. You can like put all these images in the tiers, like you do your own tier list. If you have any other opinions, post them in the comments. I'll read every single one. I think this is a pretty decent tier list. This is how I would rate them. But anyways, that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next one, I guess, soon.